The purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to generate various reports that show the results of a file comparison using scripts in a command line window. I start with my command line navigated to the scripts folder within the Oxygen installation directory, and I'll paste a command I have prepared to simply compare two files. You can see that the comparison report was generated in the console, and by default it's in YAML format. The report shows information such as the total number of differences found, the number of differences in each category, and a list of document offsets that identify the fragments with differences. As you can see, the report is not very easy to interpret in this format, but you can generate the report in other formats such as JSON, XML, or you can generate the report in HTML format with the modified text displayed side by side. Note that I can use the Help option to show the script's specifications, including information about the supported options and arguments. For example, if I want to change the output format for my comparison report, I can use the Out option to specify the output format and the Out File option to specify the path for an output file where the comparison result will be saved. So I'll show you some examples using the Out option. And for this first one, I'll specify JSON as the format, and you can see that it generated the comparison results in the command line window and in JSON file format. Next, an example using HTML for the format. And you can see that the resulting report is formatted in HTML structure. Back in the help documentation, there's a recommendation that if you choose the HTML output format, as I did, it is recommended that you choose to save the console to a specified HTML file to view the comparison result in your preferred browser. And this is where the Out File option is helpful. So I'll add it to the end of my previous command specifying the path and name for an output file. Now I can locate the specified file and open it in my browser. It resulted in a user-friendly HTML report with the differences presented and highlighted based on the type of differences. I'll quickly go over parts of the report so you understand what you're seeing. There is a legend at the top that shows the number of differences and includes some filtering checkboxes. I can hover over a checkbox to see a tooltip with more information, and if I select a particular filter, the results are filtered accordingly. The columns in the middle separate the two files and also include symbols that represent the type of difference. Now I'll talk about some of the specific differences. Notice that the second block of differences seems to just be a comment added by John and doesn't affect the actual document content. Within the third block of differences, there seems to be some empty lines that were added by Mary, and again, they didn't affect the actual content. And the fourth block of differences seems to just be reporting a difference in the order of an attribute. I also want to point out that I can refine the report by using filtering options in the script itself. For example, back in the help documentation, you can see that there are various supported options for ignoring certain types of differences. I'll paste a command that includes some ignore options, specifically to ignore differences in white spaces, comments, and the order of attributes. Again, I can open the resulting output file in my browser, and now there are 3 less entries in the results table since I chose to ignore those specific type of differences. It's also possible to generate a comparison report for a three-way comparison. In this case, I need to specify the paths of the two files to be compared, immediately followed by the path to the base reference file. I'll open the resulting report. Notice that it's a bit different. For example, the filters are a little different since the context is different. And for a three-way comparison, the report is structured according to the context of what you would expect for a versioning system. Back in the help documentation, notice that when using the HTML format for the Out option, it supports an Inline CSS qualifier that results in the HTML report being formatted with Inline CSS styling that is, for instance, more suitable for inserting it into the body of emails. So I'll paste an example of a command with the Inline CSS qualifier. And when I view the resulting HTML report in the browser, the CSS styling is now inline, the filters are hidden, and the middle column that normally includes the div symbols are now hidden. Just for context, you could see the results of the behind-the-scenes implementation by viewing the source of the reports. And you can see how each report is constructed. For three-way comparisons, you also have the ability to merge the modifications that are detected, as long as there are no conflicting changes. This is achieved by using the merge or merge out options. The merge option results in the incoming differences being merged into the first file, again, as long as there are no conflicts, in which case the merge is aborted. However, if you don't want to directly affect the content of the first file, you can use the merge out option to instead create a new file that includes the results of the merge operation, and it is saved in a specified directory. Now I'll paste a command that compares the file that just resulted from the merge out operation with the second file involved in the comparison. I'll open the resulting file in my browser, and you can see that there are no more incoming changes compared to the first results file. As you can see, there are a lot of different options that you have available to refine the HTML reports to suit your specific needs. This concludes the demonstration, and as always, thank you for watching.